So, hi guys, we want to welcome you to Inside Out. And today we're going to be talking to the lovelies, Matteel, as well as Jubilee, where they're going to share their stories of triumph, of all the things that they've had to go through from the inside out in order to just be able to change and become the best version of themselves. Also, we have here, got male in the group, Jerome Teasley. So he's going to bring in another perspective for us. So this is going to be an interesting talk. This is very fun. I'm so thrilled to be here with you guys. I'm going to start with Jubilee. So Jubilee, all right, hi Jubilee. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I have always had fitness be a part of my life ever since I was growing up. It started off by walking. Then when I got to college, I started lifting weights. And then when I got out of college, my major was health science. So I knew that I wanted to be a part of fitness, and fitness was going to be a part of my life. So I worked out at the gym. I also did group fitness, yoga, cycling, treadmill, you name it, I pretty much done it. And it came to a point, I also did competitions at one point. And as I started to get older, things started to change. And so I wanted to first say that I do have a background in fitness, but so for a couple of years, things started to change. I started to have unexplained weight gain. I started to have blurry vision, milky breasts, and headaches, and I wasn't quite sure what was going on with my body, and I just made excuses. Oh, it must be me. It must be because I'm getting older. It must be because I'm not as active as I used to be, and I would just make up things and just try to figure out what was going on. I still pretty much ate healthy. I didn't eat like hamburgers and hot dogs all the time or do different things. It was just that stuff was happening and it was unexplainable.
Unlike Jubilee, my background is not one in fitness at all. When you see the pictures of me as a little girl, I'm a chubby kid, and I was a chubby teenager and had a lifetime most of my adult life has been as an overweight person. And in our Black, brown community, there have been phases where that was called thick and different sizes, but always definitely on the bigger, larger spectrum. And unfortunately, that also at times is accepted and at times it's even encouraged, but it definitely got out of control. I made it up to 352 pounds and had a doctor who, I remember her, I've been trying to find her so I can thank her because she was so matter of fact. She's like, do you know what you weigh? And she kind of had that look on her face, and I was starting to develop some medical problems. I was right on the brink of all the things that come with being overweight. And up until that point, I had always escaped it. So in my mind, I always thought of myself as an exception somehow, like I was a healthy overweight person because I didn't have high blood pressure and diabetes, but I was developing all those things. But it was that same doctor in 2009 who diagnosed me with hypothyroidism and put me on medication for that. And so I got serious about weight loss back then, did not know what I was doing, but I did lose, I think like 80 pounds back then. And the thyroid medicine helped me kind of get that under control. So fast forward, as you know, I got serious with Jerome as my trainer in late 2016. Even that was after another doctor was like, okay, I'm about to put you on cholesterol medicine. I think I was already on high blood pressure medicine. And it was another doctor with all this, I'm about to do this. And so I talked her into letting me work on those things with nutrition. And so I did make some changes and that got better. And then with working out, I started really getting it together, started losing the weight. But prior to all of that, I went to a counselor and I didn't go for weight loss at all.
I pretty much sat back. It's like, well, if this is going to be it, should I accept where I am or should I keep working hard? And I kind of teetered in between working hard, trying to get the weight off and accepting my body for where it was. Come to find out, I end up having prolactinoma, which means that my body thinks, which means that I have a lot of prolactin in my blood. and my body thinks that I'm pregnant because it's a high level of prolactin in my blood. And so it didn't matter what I was trying to do as far as exercising or eating right or drinking water, the weight was not coming off. And the only way I found out was going to the doctor and getting my blood work done, and they told me. So I found that out, and I started taking my medication just recently, finding out. And now I'm slowly seeing the weight come off. And so my goal here today is just to say that sometimes when we battle with our weight, when we're not sure what's going on, it could be hormonal. But also I want to say with the hormones, they don't know exactly how this happened, but there is a little bit of research saying that the reason why it happened is to be under a lot of stress. And I can say that I've been under a lot of stress.
Prior to all of that, I went to a counselor, and I didn't go for weight loss at all. That was not why I went to the counselor. I actually went because of a relationship. I needed to talk about some things. And so it didn't take long for me to realize that that's not why I was there. Yeah, we talked about the relationship stuff, but then we went way deeper. And I actually stayed in counseling. And I didn't know that that was going to lead to making me more ready for weight loss. I wasn't there for weight loss at all. But I started fixing myself with the work, with the help of a professional from the inside out. Like I have journals that are filled, and I would go and she would talk to me. She would have me, take me back to childhood and have me talk as though I was a little girl, or have me talk to the little girl in me, and all kinds of other things that were just amazing. And I mean, I have notebooks. And so I did the work. I did the work then, and I still do the work. I still go to that person once a month. It's more of a life coach type relationship now, but it's a counselor. It's a counselor. And so the work, that's a huge part of my journey that got me ready to face the weight that had been really just covering me up for years.
And so I wanted to bring forth and say, when we are talking about fitness and we're talking about eating right and we're talking about exercise, we also need to take into account the stress that we may have, where our mentality may be, finding out just, are we living our best life? Are we keeping our mindset strong?
And so did that, have had great success with the scale, with my body changing, my mindset. I know we're going to get into that even more. Jerome, as my trainer, always talks to me about how powerful the mind is.
Normally, we're talking about 70% of fitness is how you eat, and then the rest of it is working out. Or we'll say something that's physical, but fitness is much more than that. It is psychological, it is mental, it is spiritual.
And I've just during this journey, I've read books and I've watched The Secret and all sorts of things. I truly believe in the power of the mind. The images you see behind me, this is one of several vision boards. I keep these images in front of me. Across the room, there's images of women in fitness with the body that I will have. And so the mindset piece is strong. So
men, don't think that it's weak to go to a health coach, a life coach, counseling. Don't think that it's weak. I think that it's strong and stronger. We have the stigma of if you're a man, you can do it. You can handle it. You can handle all the stress. No, you can't. No, you can't. You will be dysfunctional in some kind of way. It might not show up in your body. It might not show up in your career, but it's gonna show up somewhere in your life. So don't feel like you weak if you go get help. I'm telling you, ever since I started talking to Coach P, who is Precious Bibbins, it's been amazing.
Are we living our best life? Are we keeping our mindset strong? Are we going to the doctor to see what's going on with our body? And so it's not just our behaviors, but it's also our cognition and what we're thinking. And so if we're not taking care of the stress that may be in our life, then we can cause our body to wreak havoc and not know what's going on, and our hormones can get out of whack.
So going through all that, inspiring people, talking to people, you hit plateaus. every kind of journey, weight loss, no exception, is like this. It's up and down, kind of like the stock market. You want it to go up. As long as it's going in the right direction overall, you're good. That's how weight loss is. People need to know that, number one, going into it. That's how it is, like this. It's not like this, or it's not like this. But then this latest plateau started happening last year. It was like, no matter what I was doing, no matter what we tried, I kept hitting this wall. And it started becoming not just a plateau, but a weight gain. And so the weight started creeping up. And Jerome knows me. I don't try to game the system, so I'm not saying I have perfect weeks all the time, but I do weigh in, I do face the scale. I do, like, if he tells me, hey, try this for a few days, I try that for a few days, and nothing was working. And my doctor back in September said, she looked at my numbers, just regular routine checkup. And she's like, how's your weight loss going? And I didn't really realize what she was seeing, but I realize now that my TSH, which is the temperature stabilizing hormone that's used to measure, it's one of two tests they use to measure your thyroid health, was starting to creep in the wrong direction. And then a couple months ago, it was out of whack. It was out of the normal range completely. And so like Jubilee, I started medication, same medication that I was on, but they changed the dosage, and they said it would take about 6 weeks for my body to start recognizing the difference. And 6 weeks just passed, and I literally, and I sent Jerome a funny meme or GIF or whatever you call those things, and I lost 0.8. I lost like a little less than a pound, but I was so happy to see it not go up. I would have been happy with it staying the same, but to have the weight loss just keep inching upward, it does mess with your head. I had to buy a new coat this season because my coat from last year was too tight.
And so when I finally took control and decided, okay, I'm going to take control over this, I'm going to figure out what's going on with my body, the weight is slowly starting to come off. And so I'm just happy to be able to share my story with you all, and to let women and men know that when you're doing the best you can with your eating, when you're doing the best you can with your exercise, you also need to get your checkups and go to the doctor to make sure your levels are under control.
It definitely had to cause more stress, especially when you know the best you can. Especially when you're thinking, why, with your background in it, when you think, why am I really gaining the weight? Because I'm going to go deeper here.
Go ahead.
What was that? How was that for you?
Okay, so how was it when I was trying to lose weight and it wasn't happening? Yeah, you're right. It was very stressful for me. It brought on a lot of anxiety and some depression for me, because I was like, I'm supposed to be in the fitness arena. This is where I belong. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. But because I couldn't drop the weight and I didn't look the way I wanted to look, I started to hide. And I was like, well, I don't belong in the fitness world anymore because I can't get my body to where it needs to be. So how am I supposed to tell other people how to be healthy or how to be in shape if I'm not doing the same things? And I would secretly eat healthy. I secretly did CrossFit. I secretly drank a lot of water, did all these things, and things didn't happen. And so it did bring on a lot of depression. It brought on a lot of anxiety. It brought on a lot of worry. It brought on insecurity. And I was just like, I'm just going to back off. And one of the things that I did do, I was a part of the upstate boot camp. I kind of creeped back until I was like, I'm just going to pretend I see what you guys are doing. I see the amazing things that you're doing, but I'm just going to back off a little bit. So that's what happened with me.
All that stuff messes with your head. I did stay engaged. I did make a point of I didn't stop going to the gym. I didn't stop anything. I did stay plugged in with Upstate Boot Camp, but I had to be very intentional with how I've been talking to myself and saying, hey, I do belong. Another thing I would not allow myself to do is shift this thought process of, okay, well, some people in fitness are big and that's their thing. And I see people who do it under that brand, and that's fine for them, but that's not my goal. I have a goal that I will reach. I have I am very clear about where I'm headed, and that's not my goal. So I've not let myself just sort of redefine myself. Maybe this is where my body's supposed to be. I'm not accepting any of that. And I also, and Jubilee and I had a wonderful talk about this, a nice private conversation. You also fight against feelings of guilt and shame and embarrassment and worrying about what other people think. And you kind of get over that also, but those thoughts do enter, because when people see you gaining weight, they make all sorts of assumptions, like we do when we see people gaining weight. And it doesn't mean that that's what's happening. But like she said, you have to go to the doctor before you start. You have to go to the doctor. You have to be a person who gets checkups, because you never know what might be going on. Yes, you might be having some bad habits that are causing what you're dealing with, but it could be what you're eating, it could be your exercise, it could be your mental state, or it could be hormonal or something else. So that's the fast version of where I am and how I got where I am today.
That you actually went and you sought out, you guys sought out professional help as far as making sure you got everything checked out to make sure everything was okay. That's very important. I'm gonna dip into a little bit of the mental part of it. One of the things as African American people, we do have an issue with sometimes seeking out a professional in order to help us with anything. We seem to feel like that is strength. It is not strength. It is strong when you can admit, I need some type of a help. I need assistance here. That is true strength. It's to say, I get it. I need strength. For me, I understand journaling because I still journal. Years ago, I was in my 20s when I started seeing a professional, in which I started journaling then. I remember journaling then, and I remember how that was as an African American person. When you find out someone's going to see a professional to talk to, what do you need to do with that? I'm gonna go as far as people say, why can't you just pray about it and leave it there? It's not that simple. You are such a complex individual. I always say there's a value in everyone's gifts and talents. And here's the thing, there is a psychiatrist, there are counselors, there are life coaches. They are equipped to do that. They are great listeners to help you get through whatever you're going through.
Let's see. So I do a lot of things. I'm that person who has Post-it notes everywhere with positive affirmations. If you're a guest at my house, there's only one bathroom downstairs, and you're going to see my notes to myself. In the medicine cabinet, there's notes to myself saying good things to me. And that's my version of fake it till you make it. I'm saying it as though it's happening now. I'm saying it as though it's already happened. And so if there's an area where I feel weak or challenged, I say that thing to myself verbally, but also with notes. Right now, there's Post-it notes right here that have positive messages talking to myself. Jerome taught me to say things to myself, like right before I go to sleep at night.
Yes.
And have that be the last thought in my mind before I go to sleep. And it becomes a part of my psyche. Last week, I started saying, and this stuff feels crazy when you first start doing it, but I'm used to this feeling now. I started saying, man, my clothes are just getting so big, they're falling off. And they're not yet, not in the reality of right now, but I'm saying that, I'm speaking it. And I see myself doing powerlifting competitions as a lean, strong woman. Like I see it. And so it's powerful. And one of the things about affirmations, I see it as when you say them, you're actually connecting to them every single time. So whether you feel like you're there or not, you are there. Because the moment you said it, you just, you remember, I don't know, for the younger generation, they may have never seen it, but Star Trek, you remember they used to get in the little portal and then they would show up somewhere else. That's actually what you're doing.
You are connecting to that affirmation every single solitary time. And that's what you got, whether you feel it or not, you were just transported there. Now your next action will either transport you back or put you in the middle, but you're making a decision. That's what affirmations do. And we have to remember that you speak to yourself, that whatever a man thinketh,
so is he.
so is he.
Yeah.
So is he.
You know exactly what you said. I was going to say this pretty much the same thing about affirmations. You know, on my side I got bugs. But I was going to say the same thing. But I'm gonna tell you a good book for anybody who's listening, want to understand the power of now. Get that book. It's called The Power of Now. Very good book. Teaches you about being in the moment and how things, like Keita was just saying, it's actually happened right then. Just like the movies, Star Treks, or all them other science fiction movies, Matrix and all that. It's right then and there. And like she said, what you do after that determines where you're going to be. But it does and it doesn't, because we still got to grow into it. A lot of us have to grow into it. But affirmations, Matteel, what you're doing, it's so powerful. Putting it everywhere. And I love that. I mean, if I would have been in the church, I probably would have got up shouting. Because when you said my clothes is falling off of me, I was like, oh my God, I got chills and everything. And you gonna be a lean power lifter. I was like, yes. So, but yeah.
I am a lean power lifter, Jerome.
You are.
I am a lean power lifter.
Correct.
Yay. Yes. Correct. The power of it.
That's one thing. Not isolating. Really making sure I don't isolate. That is isolation. When you've been morbidly obese and when you've used food as your drug of choice, like other drugs, a lot of times you do that in isolation. The end of a work week for me is almost like some people might stock up with cases of beer, and if alcohol is their drug of choice, for me, I stocked up on food and I ate, and it was comforting. And just like other drugs, you actually feel better when you use that drug. And so to me, isolation represents something that's not healthy. It represents an unhealthy time in my life. So I don't isolate. When I have challenges, I talk about it. That's a couple of ways. I still see the counselor, life coach. And the reason I say, but if I need counseling from her, that's what we work on. But sometimes she'll coach me with, have you thought about this for your speaking business? And she'll guide me through that. So it's a true life coach. She could span the spectrum. Helping others helps me. And reminding myself that I'm a role model in many ways holds me accountable. And that's not just weight loss, just my approach. Like Jubilee said, you do sometimes think, well, how can I tell someone to do this if I'm not doing this? Well, I tell people to post affirmations. I tell people to do vision boards. And so I need to be doing those things and being authentic in that type of lifestyle. And I know that it does work. Also being gentle with myself and finding time for rest. Every type of rest. And I'm a type A personality. And so I have to make myself rest. I took Friday off from work. I put in for vacation time. I took the day off. It was totally just self-care. I didn't have anything special planned. I just needed to bring my energy down. I just needed to get off the merry-go-round a little bit. And so those kind of things help. And as you all know, the way our body responds with rest also can affect weight loss. It can affect our mental disposition and everything. And I don't want to do all the talking, but I want to say one more thing that I believe in so much. When someone is starting a weight loss journey, when they are, it starts up here. It doesn't start with that first payment to your trainer or the gym. It's a decision that you make that you're going to be the type of person who finishes things. And there's a certain sticking with it that you commit to mentally in the beginning that's going to get you through all of those ups and downs that we talked about when we started this conversation. And again, if you have not dealt with your stuff, I'll use that language for this family show. If you've not dealt with your stuff, you probably can't try to stick with it without falling back on your crutch. And because you're going to bump into feelings. I've worked with people at the beginning of a weight loss journey, and people are dealing with some pretty heavy stuff, childhood molestation, and they can't they can't do it without food. They really can't stick with it. They do have the best intentions. They really do want to. They do mean it when they say it. I know trainers sometimes get frustrated when people start and pay their money and then 2 weeks later they're gone. There might be a reason. They've bumped into something. It's like you start peeling back that protection, and if without some kind of help, sometimes they truly can't as much as they want to. People don't want to be overweight. They don't want to have ailments. They don't want to die. But without this piece we're talking about today, it's almost impossible.
And Matteel, you're right on point. But I was going to say that you have to make a decision. So when I got to a certain point on the scale, I said, you know what, I'm about to make a decision. And so the decision started in my head. And then I had to start moving. I had to change my behavior and I had to move with it. And then there might have been sometimes where I didn't feel like doing anything at all, but it didn't matter what my feelings were, because when I made the decision and then I followed through with it, then my feelings catched on, and then I kept on going. And so you have to first make the decision in your mind, because your mind is going to be your strongest muscle. And that is what I did. When we talk about the mental part of this, if we don't take care of our mental state, we're going to internalize a lot of this stuff. And that's what leads to the depression, the anxiety, not being able to handle what's going on in your life. And so when you have it on the inside, the only thing that's going to come out is the external stuff, and you're going to be self-defeated because you don't believe that you can do it. And so then you're going to try to self-soothe, and you're going to start eating, and then you're going to get lazy, and then you're going to oversleep. Then you're going to make excuses. And so the mental part is very important, because you have to start with a decision.
What you just said is so powerful, because I really, and Jubilee and I talked about this. Was that just last weekend? We both recognized, and for me, it was a powerful aha moment during our private conversation. Like, this is supposed to happen, and it is making us stronger. It has made us stronger. One of the biggest things with many of us is we don't finish. And this is going to help us finish, but it's going to help us show others how to hold on. I mean, it's the key to success is figuring out how to not give up in anything, whether it's school. I always tell people who are going through college slowly, it doesn't matter. You're going to have the same thing on the wall that everybody else has, whether it took you 8 years or took them 2 years, it doesn't matter. But it's the giving up, you see so many weight loss journeys where people don't go all the way. You know, they kind of go to where they start getting compliments and then they stop. And yes, they're probably healthier. And yes, that's still better than where they were. But I want to finish. I'm going to finish. And I want to be able to look someone in the eye when they're struggling, when they hit a plateau or a health issue like we both bumped into. And I want them to be able to look at me and be an example of being able to believe that you can keep going.
So I just think that's awesome, because what you're going through and what you both have gone through will help others be able to get up and go. You can say, I know what you're feeling. I was there. Let me help you get there. That's what I'm talking. That's why when I say to people, I see what you're going through. I see it, but understand, make this thing be a triumphant moment. Put it out there and be like, you know what? They call it the testimony. You know, so make sure that it is one. And then not only just for you, but for other people. You're exactly right, Jerome. She's back. And understand that other people, because of the strength that you guys have had to endure, you're able to hold up other people when they can't hold themselves up right now.
I want y'all have to understand Jubilee's journey. I know Jubilee from being fit. I see Jubilee now. I still see Jubilee like I know her. This lady, I'm sorry, is amazing. Her endurance, her strength. This little short woman, she goes get it. So for her to go from that to where she went to, but now on her way back, so now when she come back, she's coming back. She's doing it right now.
She's back.
She's back. She's back. So for her to do that, her story and the people that she's helping right now, starting on this interview or this talk, heart-to-heart talk, and then the training that she's doing, man, I'm telling you, y'all watch Jubilee. Watch her. Keep your eye on her. I promise you. I promise you.
And the other thing that I just started doing, because I feel like I'm a baby in fitness right now, is start small. And so I started off and said, all I'm going to do is do 50 jump ropes today. And after a while, you say, well, I'm about to do 100. Well, I'm about to do 200. Then I'm about to do, and then it's like, whenever I think about it, I'm going to go outside and jump rope. And so the thing is just start with something. Start with something very simple, and your body and your mind will catch up. Your feelings will catch up, your body will catch up, your mind will catch up, and it's just a cycle of just moving and moving. And then the more you move, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you get where you want to be. So we're following after what we think, what I want. This is what I believe about myself. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to look. And then you start moving. It's only going to get bigger. Whatever you feed is going to grow. So that's what I have to say about that.
And, you know, when I first started with Jerome in 2016, my plan was to be completely done by my birthday in 2018. And that was my plan. And it seemed very doable, because especially when you first start, you know, you lose really fast, and it just, you know, I was on track, and I'll be done with my birthday. That's going to be my birthday gift to me. Well, that's not how it went. But I'm thankful for the way the journey has been. I've become whole food plant-based in this journey. Like, all these other things have happened. A lot of stress happened last year. Hypothyroidism, I've learned, is a type of autoimmune disorder. So there's like so much learning that's happened, but the strength that Jubilee and I are having an opportunity to develop is going to make us better in the long run, and we can help more people because they're just going to believe. I teach that people ask, how do you find your passion? Your passion is in your pain. Like, if you look into your pain, your passion is going to be tied to this. There's so much of my life that's now focused on helping other people be healthy in every way that wouldn't have been my focus at all if it weren't for the things that I've gone through and the things that I'm going through now.
Exactly. And you know what? I have to say something, because I love that you said your passion is in your pain. Not only that, your passion is in your purpose, your pain, and your prosperity. And that's what people got to get. Because one of the things is, you're going to be at the best version of who you can be is when you're operating fully in who you're called to be. And all those little nuggets that you go through, I always told people, a conquer coal becomes a diamond, but the only way that it does is under pressure. And so therefore, every day, that's why I can see challenges as something great now. There was a time in my life I couldn't. But now I see challenges as something I'm like, woo, that happened. Okay, that means something else great is going to happen. That's when you start that mindset, you start developing a new mindset. And when you're developing a new mindset, that inside out starts to appear in every single thing that you do.
Yesterday, I was riding, I listened to this podcast called A Passion Few. Very good. But there's a young man on there. He'd been through a lot, but he said, I don't go through life, I grow through life. And I was like, wow, okay, I got to adopt that one.
I'm glad you told me that. Wow. I mean, I really like that, growing through life. I had to write it down. I had to write the podcast down. A Passion Few. I wrote it down. So you guys are hitting it right on the head, just making sure that you are having your affirmations, that you are speaking life into you, speaking life into others, making sure that you make that decision for yourself, because nobody can do the work for you. You have to do the work. If you want something, you have to be able to put it in. And that's the thing where you can have a community that can come around you and support you and be there for you and hip, hip, hooray and hurrah for you. But you are the person that has the responsibility to put in the work and make it happen. So
you're here on purpose, to serve a purpose, to help others, and that's what we're here for. I think we miss that. Changing the mindset, and in order to change the mindset, you're absolutely right, Jubilee, you gotta be able to put in the work. It doesn't happen overnight. What is going on up here is gonna resonate everywhere else. And sometimes if you're constantly looking at negative things or reading negativity or around negative people, or you're negative yourself, that's what's replaying. And so now you're actually you're putting off this type of energy that keeps everything around you negative. So this, I think the Inside Out today is about putting you back in the driver's seat of your life. See, that's the thing. You can't expect you don't get a chauffeur in this life. You get to drive. So what are you gonna do?
I like that, Keita. I love that. You get to drive. I wanted to say, because there's something that you said about everything, if everything's going so well, something might go wrong. And I want to say that those are cognitive distortions. An all or nothing type person, either I got to eat healthy all the time, or I can't do nothing at all. That's another cognitive distortion. You may go through ups, you may go through downs, but it's not an all or nothing type thing. It's a journey. You have to keep moving. It's not, oh, woe is me, I can't do this. Oh no, this is the end. That's another cognitive distortion. You can decide, you can make a decision, like we've been saying. So we have to be leery about our mentality. And when we find ourselves on the extremes of anything, we have to really think about what am I telling myself? What is going on inside of my mind that's making me think that I can't do this? And so if you continue to have these, then that's something that you really have to get some help with. You may have to learn how to change your mind. And if you can't do it yourself, that's where therapy, a pastor, a community, a support team, a coach, that's where they come into play to help you with those cognitive things that are going on.
Definitely. We have got to do another one of these to just talk about these. We need to talk about some of the principles of it, because I think that that's one of the things that people are missing. And I really believe that people will be able to grab some things. And if they can't do it on their own, they'll be able to seek professional help.
So yeah, there's so much more to talk about. There's a lot more we can talk about with what you spoke about earlier, with what you and Jerome spoke about the stigma around getting help, especially in Black and Brown communities. And, the choice to not get help for so many of us is deadly. I know we're having a really upbeat conversation, but this is a very serious topic. And yes, we are upbeat because we've learned some things, and we know how to be upbeat, and we know how to choose. But I'm confident that every single one of us here has also had some dark times. and still do from time to time. But, you know, when you get help, yes, you get help with whatever you go get help for, but you also develop coping tools. And you learn how to pull those out of your toolkit when you need them. Like you said, as one quick example, Keita, earlier, it might be a few minutes of affirmation in the middle of the day to pick yourself up. Sometimes you need more, you know, and so I would love to talk more around that. I know time is short here, but also what Jubilee was talking about doing the work. You know, yes, with weight loss, fitness, whatever the journey is to become the best version of yourself, at the end of the day, it's you. And you can be surrounded by all kinds of support. And I'll talk more in a future conversation. That's why I talk about butterflies. That's why I talk about the journey from a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's not just about being, you know, cutesy little butterfly stuff. Yes, those are reminders. But there's a lot that's representative in that journey. And the piece you're talking about, Jubilee, is that cocoon work, that grit, and that hanging on. And Keita, you're right. It starts with a changed mindset. I always say a caterpillar has to take that first step onto the branch before they even know what a butterfly is. When you're down with the caterpillars, you might not have ever even seen a butterfly, but you have to believe that you can become something that you maybe haven't even seen. I was 352 pounds. I had to believe that I could become 145 pounds. I'd never seen that. I hadn't experienced that, but I had to believe it first. So there's a lot more to talk about, like you said, the principles, what's involved day to day, sometimes moment to moment, with applying these things so you can be upbeat and talk about it in a positive way and not panic when things don't go perfectly. So yes, I look forward to more conversations like this. It's pretty critical.
Right. I'm going to leave you with this, Keita, and that was when you were saying, well, how do we change our thoughts? And I'm just going to leave one technique, and it's called thought stopping. And the thing is when something comes up in someone's head and you're like, I can't do this. You stop for a minute and you say, is this true? And if they say, I know this isn't true, and then they replace it with something else, and they continue to do that, they finally figure out, okay, these negative thoughts are going to have to stop, because every time I think of something that's not true, I can't lose weight, stop. I can lose weight. I just need to do this, this, and this. I'm having a hard time with my hormones and things aren't going right, stop. I can go to the doctor and see what's going on. Like, you just need to take some time out, and sometimes you can't just go. You have to stop, talk to yourself sometimes, and say, yes, I can. You can't just let it keep going on in a circle in your mind. So that's one technique that we can all do, and it's on the internet. You can Google it and you can find out how to do thought stopping.
Yeah, I love it. I actually call it untie the knot. It's called, one day I was saying, we were doing meditation, and I just said, stop and untie the knot. And yes. You ever get that knot in your shoe? Like, what is this knot? You stop and untie the knot. Yes, I love it.
Yes.
Jerome, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I just wanted to say that this conversation is so powerful. I really enjoy it. I feel empowered, and I'm hoping that everybody who have a chance to listen, share it, so not only you feel empowered, that somebody you love also feel empowered. So thank you, Jubilee, Matteel. It's been wonderful. Keita, as always, a partner. All right, that's all I have to say. But I'll let Keita wrap it up.
This was such a powerful segment. We will come back with another segment. I want to thank these lovely people for taking time out, for sharing their triumphs and their tragedies, and all of that. And I know it was short. But we definitely want to come back and give you some tools to work with.